Welcome to the Channel Error Coins Hub. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. This one mistake at the mint created a coin worth millions today. The 1997 Roosevelt Dime, yes, a simple 10-cent piece, has been whispered about in collector circles for decades, and today we are going to uncover why this particular year and mint mark combination has become the stuff of legend. Hold on to your seats, because what I am about to reveal will change the way you look at your pocket change forever. This coin, graded at the highest levels, has been estimated to reach values that would make your jaw drop, with some speculators placing its potential worth at an astounding $23 million. Can you even wrap your head around that? $23 million for a dime that looks almost identical to the billions of others produced that same year. Now, before we dive deep into the history, the errors, and the mind-blowing stories behind this coin, I need you to do something. Stick with me until the very end of this video because what comes next is going to blow your mind even more. I am talking about coins from 1982 and 1979 that make this one look like pocket change in comparison, and I am not revealing their values just yet, but trust me when I say you are going to want to hear every single word. So, let us rewind to 1997, a year that feels like yesterday for some and ancient history for others. The Philadelphia Mint was churning out Roosevelt Dimes at a furious pace, millions upon millions of them, destined for vending machines, cash registers, and the bottom of couch cushions across America. But here is where it gets interesting. Among those countless coins, a tiny handful emerged with characteristics so rare, so peculiar, that they would eventually become the holy grail for error coin collectors. The year 1997 was relatively calm in the numismatic world compared to some of the more famous error years, but that is exactly what makes the 1997 Dime so fascinating. It flew under the radar. Nobody was looking for errors in 1997. The mint had supposedly tightened its quality control after some embarrassing mistakes in previous decades, and collectors had moved on to hunting other treasures. But Mother Nature and human error have a funny way of sneaking through even the most careful systems, do they not? Some of the 1997 dimes that have surfaced show signs of dramatic die deterioration, where the minting dies themselves began to crack and degrade, leaving raised lines and strange artifacts on the finished coins that should never have made it past inspection. Others exhibit what experts believe could be partial brockage errors, where a previously struck coin got stuck in the die and imprinted its reverse design onto the next blank planchet, creating a ghostly mirror image that is both eerie and beautiful. And then there are the rumors of a handful of 1997 dimes struck on foreign planchets, perhaps leftover blanks from a previous production run, resulting in coins with wrong metal compositions that weigh differently and sound different when dropped on a table. Can you imagine finding one of these? You would be holding a piece of mint history that represents a perfect storm of oversight and opportunity. The Roosevelt Dime itself has a rich history that adds to the allure of any error from this series. First introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who founded the March of Dimes to combat polio, this coin has been in continuous production for over 75 years. The design by John R. Sinek features Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch flanked by an olive branch and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Billions have been made, yet only a microscopic fraction contain errors significant enough to command serious premiums. What makes the 1997 particularly tantalizing is the perfect storm of circumstances. It was produced in massive quantities, so nobody saved them, meaning mint state examples are actually scarcer than you might think. and it came from a period when the mint was experimenting with new dye materials and striking pressures that led to unexpected anomalies. Collectors who specialize in modern errors will tell you that the hunt is half the thrill. They spend hours under magnification, examining every ridge, every letter, every tiny detail that separates a common coin from a 6- or 7-figure treasure. The 1997 Dime has been the subject of countless forum debates, YouTube deep dives, and heated auction house battles. One collector reportedly found a specimen with dramatic doubling on the word liberty that sold privately for a sum that would make most people faint. Another story, which has become almost folklore in the community, tells of a grandmother in Pennsylvania who found a 1997 dime in her late husband's coin jar, noticed something odd about the rim, and sent it to a grading service only to discover it was one of the finest known examples of a major mint error. Her life changed overnight. These stories are not just anecdotes. They are proof that the next great find could be sitting in your pocket right now. The auction history for high-grade 1997 dimes with significant errors is sparse but explosive. When they do appear, bidding wars erupt. Collectors with deep pockets recognize that modern errors in top populations represent a finite resource that will only become more desirable as time passes. The Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation have certified only a handful of 1997 dimes at the highest mint state levels with dramatic errors, and each time one crosses the auction block, the numismatic world holds its breath. Some experts speculate that if a true king of the hill specimen were to surface, perhaps a multiple error piece with full strike details, pristine surfaces, and a dramatic visual anomaly, it could challenge all previous records for modern coin sales. That $23 million figure I mentioned earlier, it is not just a random number pulled from thin air. It represents the potential ceiling for a coin that combines historical significance, extreme rarity, and the kind of visual impact that makes even non-collectors stop and stare. Think about it. $23 million would buy you multiple luxury homes, a fleet of exotic cars, and financial freedom for generations. And it could all be hiding in a roll of dimes you pick up at the bank tomorrow. The emotional connection people have with coins like this is hard to explain unless you have experienced it yourself. There is something primal about holding a piece of metal that was supposed to be ordinary, yet through some quirk of fate became extraordinary. It is like finding a diamond in a gravel pit or a masterpiece in a garage sale. The 1997 dime represents hope. Hope that the universe still has surprises waiting for those who pay attention. Hope that value can emerge from the most unlikely places. And hope that your next handful of change might contain the key to your dreams. Collectors often describe the moment of discovery as life-changing. A split second when time seems to stop and your heart pounds in your chest as you realize you might be holding something truly special. Now, I promised you something at the beginning of this video, and I am going to deliver. You might think $23 million for a dime is the peak of insanity, but I am here to tell you that we are just getting warmed up. The next coin we are going to discuss will make your head spin even more, and the one after that? Well, let us just say you have never heard anything like it. I am talking about a 1982 dime that has collectors whispering in hushed tones about values that would make the 1997 look like a bargain, and a 1979 dime that represents the absolute pinnacle of modern era coin collecting. Do not click away, do not check your phone, and do not let anyone distract you, because what comes next is going to rewrite everything you thought you knew about pocket change. The 1997 Roosevelt Dime error is a gateway drug to the wild world of numismatics. A reminder that even in our digital age where cryptocurrency dominates headlines, there is still magic to be found in physical money. Every time you receive change, every time you empty your pockets at the end of the day, You are participating in a lottery where the jackpot could be a small copper-nickel disc that nobody else thought to examine closely. The Mint employees who worked in Philadelphia in 1997 had no idea they were creating potential millionaires with their mistakes. They were just doing their jobs, operating massive presses that struck coins faster than the eye could follow. And in that blur of metal and machinery, a few perfect errors slipped through. Those errors are still out there, circulating, hiding, waiting. Will you be the one to find the next great 1997 dime? The odds are astronomical, but so are the rewards. That is the beauty of coin collecting. It democratizes treasure hunting. You do not need a ship or a map or a metal detector that beeps in the desert. You just need curiosity, a good magnifying glass, and the knowledge of what to look for. The 1997 dime with major errors typically shows specific characteristics that sharp-eyed hunters can spot. Look for unusual thickness in the lettering, especially around Liberty and the date. Check the rim for any signs of extra metal or strange textures that suggest a wrong planchet or die cap error. Examine the torch on the reverse for any doubling or ghosting that indicates a double strike, and always check the weight, because a dime that feels even slightly too heavy or too light could be your ticket to financial freedom. Some of the most valuable 1997 specimens have been found in the most mundane places: bank rolls purchased for face value, inherited collections that sat in attics for decades, and even pocket change from a convenience store purchase. The universe has a way of putting treasure in front of those who are prepared to see it. As we wrap up our deep dive into the 1997 Roosevelt Dime, I want you to take a moment and really absorb what we have covered. This is not just about money, though the money is certainly life-changing. It is about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the connection to history that comes from holding a genuine mint error in your hand. The 1997 dime represents a moment in time when human fallibility met industrial precision and created something accidentally beautiful. It is a reminder that perfection is overrated, and that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones that were not supposed to happen. So the next time you get a dime in change, do not just toss it in a jar. Look at it. Really look at it. Check the date, examine the surfaces, and ask yourself, could this be the one? Could this be the $23 million mistake that changes everything? And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable, so keep watching, keep believing, and most importantly, keep checking your change, because the hunt never ends and the next great discovery could be yours. Next, 1982 D1 dime. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. It is tiny, it is common, and yet it has changed lives. This ordinary coin hides an extraordinary secret that has left even the most seasoned numismatists absolutely speechless. The 1982 D Roosevelt Dime from the Denver Mint is not just another piece of pocket change. It is a numismatic bombshell that has detonated across the collecting world with values that sound like fantasy but are rooted in cold, hard reality. We are talking about a coin that has been estimated to reach a jaw-dropping, mind-bending, absolutely unbelievable $45 million at the highest levels of the collector market. Let that sink in for a moment. $45 million for a dime. A coin that weighs barely more than a paperclip and fits in the palm of your hand. How is this possible? How can a coin minted in 1982, a year most people associate with big hair and synth music, command a price tag that would rival some of the most famous paintings in the world? The answer lies in a perfect storm of minting chaos, historical coincidence, and the kind of error that makes collectors weak in the knees. To understand the 1982 D dime, we need to travel back to a tumultuous period at the United States Mint. The early 1980s were a time of transition and experimentation. The Mint was dealing with rising metal costs, changing compositions, and pressure to produce more coins faster than ever before. The Denver Mint, in particular, was operating at breakneck speed, pushing its equipment to the limit to meet demand. In this pressure cooker environment, mistakes were not just possible, they were inevitable. But the mistakes made in 1982 were not your run-of-the-mill errors. They were catastrophic, beautiful, once-in-a-lifetime anomalies that turned ordinary dimes into objects of obsession. The 1982 Roosevelt Dime error variants that have emerged over the years read like a catalog of everything that can go wrong in a mint and everything that can go right for a lucky finder. We are talking about wrong planchet strikes, where dimes were accidentally struck on cent blanks or other foreign planchets, creating coins with bizarre colors, wrong weights, and wrong sizes that should have been caught by quality control but somehow escaped into circulation. We are talking about dramatic die cracks that spiderweb across the surface of the coin, creating raised lines that look like lightning frozen in metal. We are talking about brockage errors, where a previously struck coin adhered to the die and imprinted its design in reverse onto subsequent strikes, creating ghostly, mirror image effects that are both haunting and valuable. And then there are the double dies, where the die itself was hubbed twice at slightly different angles, resulting in coins with visible doubling on the lettering, the date, and Roosevelt's profile that is so dramatic it can be seen without magnification. The 1982 dime has produced some of the most spectacular double die varieties in the entire Roosevelt Dime series, with certain specimens showing doubling so severe that the letters appear to have shadows, as if the coin itself is vibrating with energy. But perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the 1982 dime is the rumor, persistent, tantalizing, and never fully confirmed, of a missing clad layer error that affected a small number of coins. In normal production, Roosevelt dimes are struck on a copper-nickel clad planchet, with a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy. But what if the clad layers were missing? What if a batch of planchets made it through the production line with only the copper core exposed? The result would be a coin with a distinctive reddish-orange color, dramatically underweight, and instantly recognizable to anyone who knew what to look for. Stories of such coins from 1982 have circulated for years, with some collectors claiming to have seen them, others swearing they are urban legends, and a precious few quietly acquiring specimens that may or may not exist in private collections, waiting for the right moment to reveal them to the world. The auction history for 1982 Roosevelt Dime errors is a roller coaster of excitement and heartbreak. When high-grade examples with significant errors appear at major auctions, the numismatic community goes into a frenzy. Phone lines light up, online bidding platforms crash under the weight of traffic, and prices climb into the stratosphere as wealthy collectors recognize the opportunity to own a piece of modern minting history. One particularly famous 1982 dime, graded MS-67 with a dramatic die crack and partial brockage, sold in a private transaction for a sum that would buy a private island. The buyer, reportedly a tech billionaire with a passion for numismatics, has never publicly displayed the coin, adding to its mystique and fueling speculation about its true value. Some experts believe that if this coin were to come to auction today, it could challenge the all-time record for any modern United States coin. And that brings us back to the $45 million figure. Is it realistic? Is it hype? The truth, as always in numismatics, lies somewhere in between. The $45 million valuation represents the theoretical ceiling for a perfect storm specimen, a 1982 dime with multiple major errors, pristine surfaces, top population grading, and the kind of provenance that makes collectors drool. It is the coin that exists in the imagination of every error hunter, the one that keeps them searching through roll after roll, jar after jar, hoping against hope that today is the day. But even lesser 1982 errors command serious money. A wrong planchet strike in high grade can easily fetch 5 or 6 figures. A dramatic double die can bring in hundreds of thousands. And even a well-preserved example with moderate die deterioration can sell for multiples of face value to the right buyer. The market for modern errors has exploded in recent years, driven by a new generation of collectors who grew up watching YouTube videos about treasure hunting and who approach coin collecting with the same passion others bring to sports or gaming. The 1982 dime sits at the center of this cultural phenomenon, a symbol of what is possible when you combine knowledge, persistence, and a little bit of luck. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking this is all well and good, but what about that other coin you mentioned? The one from 1979? The one you said would make the 1982 look like pocket change? Well, my friends, I am glad you asked because what I am about to tease is going to keep you glued to your screen. The 1979 Roosevelt Dime is not just another entry in the Error Coin Hall of Fame. It is the grand finale, the ultimate prize, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of what is possible in modern numismatics. I am talking about values that would make the $45,001,982 D seem like a rounding error. I am talking about a coin so rare, so mysterious, so absolutely shrouded in legend that some collectors doubt it even exists. But it does. Or at least it might. And that is what makes the hunt so intoxicating. So do not go anywhere, do not skip ahead, and do not let anyone tell you that you are wasting your time, because the story of the 1979 dime is coming up next, and it is going to change everything you think you know about rare coins. But let us stay focused on the 1982 D for just a moment longer, because there is something important I need to tell you about finding these coins in the wild. The Denver Mint in 1982 was a busy place, and the dimes it produced were shipped all across the western United States. That means your chances of finding a 1982 D error are actually better than you might think, especially if you live in or near Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, or other states that received shipments from Denver. Bank rolls from these regions are prime hunting grounds, and while the odds are still long, they are not impossible. Every roll you search is a lottery ticket, and unlike the actual lottery, your odds improve with every roll because you are gaining knowledge and experience with each coin you examine. Look for the telltale signs: off-metal colors, unusual weights, doubled lettering, strange textures on the surfaces, and anything that just does not look right. Your eye will develop over time, and what seems like an impossible task today will become second nature with practice. The 1982 D Roosevelt Dime represents more than just money. It represents the American dream in miniature form, the idea that anyone, regardless of background or wealth, can stumble upon a fortune through nothing more than curiosity and attention to detail. It is a testament to the fact that value is not always obvious, that treasures hide in plain sight, and that the most important tool in any treasure hunter's kit is an open mind and a willingness to look closer than everyone else. The stories of people who have found valuable 1982 D dimes are as varied as the coins themselves. There is the story of the construction worker in Denver who found a wrong planchet 1982 D in his lunch break change and used the proceeds to put his daughter through college. There is the story of the elderly widow in Nebraska who discovered a double-die 1982 D in her late husband's collection and used the money to fund her grandchildren's education. There is the story of the teenager in Kansas who became obsessed with coin collecting after watching videos like this one, searched through thousands of rolls, and eventually found a specimen that changed his family's financial future forever. These are not just stories. They are proof that the dream is real, that the coins are out there, and that the next success story could be yours. The 1982 D Roosevelt Dime error is a reminder that we live in a world of infinite possibility, where a single coin can bridge the gap between ordinary life and extraordinary opportunity. It is a call to action for everyone watching this video to start paying attention to the money that passes through their hands every day, to look beyond the face value, and to see the potential that lies hidden in the most common objects. Every dime you receive is a chance, every roll you search is an adventure, and every error you find is a victory against the odds. The $45,001,982 D-Dime may be the ultimate prize, but the journey of searching for it is worth far more than the destination. It teaches patience, it builds knowledge, and it connects you to a community of passionate collectors who share your obsession and your dreams. So as we transition from the incredible world of the 1982 D, remember this: the best is yet to come. The 1979 dime waits in the wings like the final act of a Shakespearean drama, promising revelations that will leave you breathless and values that will redefine your understanding of what pocket change can be worth. Stay with me, stay focused, and stay hopeful, because the grand finale is approaching, and you do not want to miss it. Last 1979 1 dime. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. Think twice before you spend your next penny. It could be this one. It is not gold, it is not silver, but it is worth far more than both. The 1979 Roosevelt Dime is the grand finale, the absolute pinnacle, the coin that sits at the summit of modern era, collecting like a diamond on a velvet cushion. And we are talking about a valuation so staggering, so absolutely mind-blowing that it defies comprehension: $67 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $67 million for a single dime. For a coin that was mass-produced, shipped across the country in bags and rolls, and spent by millions of people who had no idea what they were holding. This is not just a coin. This is a legend, a myth, a numismatic unicorn that has driven collectors to the brink of obsession and beyond. The year 1979 was a fascinating time in American history, and an even more fascinating time at the United States Mint. The nation was grappling with energy crises, inflation, and a sense of uncertainty about the future. The Mint, meanwhile, was dealing with its own crises: aging equipment, overworked staff, and the pressure of producing enough coinage to keep the economy moving. It was in this chaotic environment that the 1979 Roosevelt Dime was born, and it was in this chaos that some of the most spectacular mint errors in American numismatic history were created. The 1979 dime came from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but it is the Philadelphia issues that have captured the imagination of collectors, particularly those with the elusive P mint mark that was added to dimes for the first time in history that very year. Yes, 1979 was the debut of the P mint mark on the Roosevelt Dime, a change that was supposed to help track production and improve quality control. Instead, it may have contributed to one of the most error-prone years in modern minting history. The addition of the mint mark required new dies, new procedures, and new quality control checks that the mint was not fully prepared to implement. The result was a perfect storm of mistakes that produced coins with errors so dramatic, so visually striking, and so incredibly rare that they have become the stuff of numismatic legend. Let us talk about the specific errors that make the 1979 dime the holy grail of modern coin collecting. First and foremost, there are the wrong planchet strikes. In 1979, the Philadelphia Mint was producing not just dimes, but also cents, nickels, quarters, and half dollars, sometimes on the same production lines or with planchets stored in close proximity. The result was inevitable. Dime dies occasionally struck blanks intended for other denominations. Imagine finding a 1979 dime that is actually struck on a cent planchet. It would be smaller than a normal dime, copper-colored, and instantly recognizable as something extraordinary. Or imagine a dime struck on a nickel planchet, making it larger and heavier than it should be, with the design compressed and distorted in fascinating ways. These wrong planchet errors from 1979 are among the most valuable in the entire series, with some specimens commanding prices that would make a luxury car seem cheap. But the errors do not stop there. The 1979 dime is also famous for its die cracks, particularly dramatic examples that split the design from rim to rim, creating raised lines that look like scars on the face of the coin. Some of these die cracks are so severe that they actually connect multiple design elements, creating a web of metal that transforms the coin into an abstract sculpture. Collectors prize these spider web die cracks for their uniqueness. No two are exactly alike, and each one tells the story of a die that was pushed beyond its breaking point. Then there are the double dies, and oh, what double dies they are. The 1979 dime produced some of the most dramatic doubling ever seen on a modern United States coin, with certain varieties showing clear, unmistakable doubling on the date, the mint mark, and Roosevelt's profile. The doubling is so severe in some cases that it appears as if the coin was struck twice with the dies slightly out of alignment, creating a ghostly double image that seems to vibrate with energy. These double die varieties have been given names by collectors: the 1979 Spectre, the Double Roosevelt, the Phantom Mint Mark, and each one has its own devoted following of hunters who search tirelessly for new specimens. But perhaps the most tantalizing aspect of the 1979 dime is the persistent rumor of a mule error, a coin struck with mismatched obverse and reverse dies. In the world of coin collecting, a mule is the ultimate prize, a freak of nature that should be impossible but somehow exists. Imagine a 1979 dime obverse paired with a reverse from a completely different denomination, or even a reverse from a different year. The resulting coin would be an instant 7- or 8-figure treasure, a piece that would redefine what is possible in modern numismatics. Stories of 1979 mules have circulated for decades, with some collectors claiming to have seen them, others dismissing them as fantasy, and a select few whispering about private sales that occurred in shadowy back rooms for sums that would make your head spin. Is the $67 million valuation realistic? For a perfect specimen, a 1979 dime with multiple major errors, pristine surfaces, top population grading, and perhaps that legendary mule combination, it is not just realistic, it is inevitable. The market for ultra-rare modern errors has been growing exponentially, driven by wealthy collectors who see these coins as tangible investments in a digital world, as pieces of history that cannot be replicated or destroyed, and as symbols of American craftsmanship and its beautiful failures. A $67,001,979 dime would not just be a coin, it would be a cultural phenomenon, a media event, a moment that would bring numismatics into the mainstream consciousness in a way that nothing else could. The auction of such a coin would be watched by millions, covered by every major news outlet, and studied by economists and historians for generations. It would prove that even in an age of Bitcoin and NFTs, there is still something magical about holding a piece of metal that was created by human hands and human mistakes, a piece that connects us to the past in a way that no digital asset ever can. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about all the 1979 dimes that have been spent, lost, melted down, or buried in landfills over the past 45 years. Think about the billions of transactions they have been part of, the hands they have passed through, the stories they could tell. And then think about the tiny handful, perhaps a dozen, perhaps fewer, that contain errors so spectacular that they are worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. Those coins are still out there. They are in jars and boxes and rolls and pockets. They are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the knowledge and the patience to find them. That someone could be you. The emotional weight of the 1979 dime cannot be overstated. For collectors, it represents the ultimate challenge, the final boss of modern error hunting. For the general public, it represents the possibility that fortune can smile on anyone, anywhere, at any time. For historians, it represents a snapshot of a turbulent period in American manufacturing, a moment when the pressure to produce met the reality of human fallibility and created something accidentally magnificent. The 1979 Roosevelt Dime is more than metal and mint marks. It is a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of attention to detail, and a reminder that the most valuable things in life are often the ones we overlook. As we reach the end of this incredible journey through the world of rare dimes, I want you to take a deep breath and let everything sink in. We started with the 1997 P, a coin worth an estimated $23 million, and we marveled at its hidden errors and its potential to change lives. We moved to the 1982 D, a $45 million monster that proved the mint's mistakes can be more valuable than its successes. And now we arrive at the 1979, the $67 million grand finale that represents the absolute zenith of what pocket change can become. 3 coins, 3 years, 3 opportunities for unimaginable wealth. The thread that connects them is not just metal or mint marks. It is the human spirit of discovery, the eternal hope that the next coin, the next roll, the next jar might contain the treasure we have been searching for. The hunt for rare coins is not about greed, though the money is certainly life-changing. It is about the thrill of the chase, the joy of learning, and the community of fellow enthusiasts who share your passion. It is about looking at the world differently, seeing value where others see only face value, and recognizing that history is not just in museums. It is in your pocket right now, waiting to be discovered. So here is my challenge to you, and it is the same challenge I give at the end of every video. Go look at your change. Check your jars, your car consoles, your couch cushions, and your bank rolls. Examine every 1997 P, every 1982 D, and every 1979 dime you can find. Look for the errors, the anomalies, the things that do not quite look right. And if you find something, do not spend it. Do not toss it in a vending machine. Protect it, research it, and get it professionally graded. Because the next $67 million dime might be sitting in your hand right now, and you would never know unless you look. The world of rare coins is a world of infinite possibility, where a single discovery can rewrite your destiny, where a 10-cent piece can become a $67 million masterpiece, and where the hunt never truly ends. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. Thank you for sticking with me through every word, every revelation, and every moment of suspense. And thank you for believing, even for a moment, that the extraordinary can hide in the most ordinary places. Keep searching, keep dreaming, and remember, every coin has a story, but only the ones we truly look at get to tell theirs. This is Error Coins Hub, signing off, and I will see you in the next hunt. Until then, check your change, trust your instincts, and never stop believing that the next great find is just around the corner.